Raise your hand if you felt secretly happy when a guy said to you, "You are not like other girls." Raise your hand if at some point in your life you thought you were better than other girls because you did not wear makeup or barely ran a comb through your hair. Raise your hand if you pretended to like death metal just to impress the guy. What? Don't look at me. I could not even pretend to like death metal. I hate it that much. Now, raise your hand if you watched Oppenheimer when we all know that you secretly wanted to watch Barbie that day. Now, raise your hand if you already know where this is going. Hi, guys. It's Women's Day. And there are obviously 100 important issues that we could be discussing right now about gender equality, safety, representation, opportunities, and the structural barriers that women still face in the real world today. But I'm no expert in most of these matters, to be honest. I have my opinions, but I do not want to start another conversation on this video. What I want to do is talk about something that's deeply personal and has been a major part of my life. It has been a major part of being a woman. It has affected how I see myself, how I sometimes loathe myself, and how I see my own body. And most importantly, it has also affected how I see other women, how I see my peers, and how I have seen my friends all my life. So let's talk about it. The cool girl syndrome. It's my personal opinion, and I want to talk about how, somewhere along the line, while fighting for our rights, opportunities, pushing against stereotypes, and trying to be taken seriously in the world, many women, and I'm one of them, we also subtly distanced ourselves from things that felt traditionally feminine. In many cases, and these are just a few examples: makeup, jewelry, fashion, rom coms, shopping, and the next one's almost criminal. Pretending that you don't like mean girls? Come on. Okay, girls, these are just surface level lame examples. Brace yourselves for the next one. Speaking of things that are considered traditionally feminine, then we also distance ourselves from our own emotional needs, from that very natural desire for emotional attachment. For example, how many of you agreed when a guy said that he did not believe in expressing his emotions for you? That he did not believe in proving his feelings or did not believe in birthdays or getting you flowers, even though a small part of you wished that he would. And you just nodded along, like, yeah, that's kind of silly. I don't believe in those things either. At this point, I'm speaking for myself. You know, I wish I could just go back in time and tell myself to break up with him then and there. And I'm pretty sure that many of us lied to ourselves that we were just fine when all we wanted to really do was break down in tears in front of him. And how many of us pretended that we were okay with casual relationships just because we wanted to maintain our status of the cool girl? And when I say cool girl, I mean the whole package. The cool girl doesn't create drama, she's agreeable, she's easygoing, she's one of the boys, and she doesn't take up too much space. The cool girl is also funny, she laughs along, is spontaneous, and just goes with the flow. But you know what's the real bonus that comes with a cool girl? She suppresses her own needs, emotions, and desires to make other people around her comfortable, especially men. For a long time, I thought that I was a cool girl. Today, however, I strongly believe that anybody can be their own version of cool. There's really no definition for it. I think everybody is cool in their own quirky way. If you genuinely like death metal, if you love football, if you hate shopping, and you are not a fan of makeup, that's completely fine. What I'm trying to say in this video is that the problem doesn't lie in what you like or dislike. The problem really starts when you change your preferences and personality for somebody else's validation, like I did. Guilty as charged. I know I was just a naive young woman trying to figure out life. But looking back, I realized how much I was training my brain to reject parts of myself that made me who I was. I somehow convinced myself that I hated pink, I did not like colors. As a girl, I avoided clothes deliberately. that complemented my body. I used to wear oversized flannel shirts because I thought that looking less feminine would somehow make me cooler. And this is what really breaks my heart. I sabotaged my relationship with other women my age because I was constantly trying to be better than other girls, and I thought that was a badge of honor, being different from other girls. So many times I also ate my own feelings and told myself that I was okay, I didn't have any emotions, I didn't need to cry or express them as frequently as other girls. Wow. After listening to all of this, don't you feel like that was a little wild? Imagine for almost a decade gaslighting yourself into believing that you did not have emotions because you associated emotions with femininity. And of course, you by default always wanted to distance yourself from those aspects of being a woman. And looking back, I cannot help but wonder how much damage had I done to my own mental health. And when you do something like that long enough, you know what happens? You stop checking in with yourself. You stop asking yourself questions like, what are my needs? What do I actually want? What do I like? Am I okay? Because all your life, all this time, you have been trying so hard to fit into this idea of a cool girl who doesn't even exist. And over the years, I've realized that this pretend fake version of ourselves, where we do not know who we truly are, this is the self which gets taken advantage of the most. In relationships, at work, in your everyday interactions, in your communication, and even in your sexual life. If you become the girl who never complains, who is always chill, who just goes with the flow, is always easygoing, and most of all, the girl who doesn't ask for much, it slowly starts to chip away at your true sense of self, your dignity, and self respect. You may feel very proud of yourself. It might even feel empowering. You would even tell yourself that you are this strong girl with a tough exterior who doesn't need to constantly check with her emotions and make every decision from a place of cold, stiff logic. But over time, you will become someone who constantly shrinks a part of herself to make other people around her comfortable. And now, honestly, I wish someone had pointed those things out to me earlier. And I'm sure many people tried, but I always dismissed them. I remember once saying to my mom, where do these girls find all the time and energy to do their makeup, keep up with fashion trends, and do their hair? And I proudly stated that I barely run a comb through my hair. And when I think long and hard about it, about the statement that I made in front of my mom, I realized how much of that actually came from the misogyny around me, which I internalized while growing up. You know what it is like in many middle class Indian homes, and my home was one such example. If the family had to ever step out for a dinner, a wedding, or any casual outing, the men in the house would inevitably say something like, तुम औरतों को तो वैसे भी ज्यादा टाइम लगता है रेडी होने में, क्या जरूरत है मेकअप करने की? हाँ, ये क्रीम वीम कौन लगाता है, हम तो नहीं लगाते. चुड़ैल लग रही हो लिपस्टिक में, हटाओ उसको. Imagine listening to them as if men knew anything about those men knew anything about makeup or why we did it for ourselves. But unfortunately, when you are a teenager growing up in a patriarchal setup like that, the opinions of men carry far more weight than a woman's. A father's comment, an uncle's remark, it could be a cousin, it could even be a random stranger dropping by with absolutely no qualification to remark upon your body, your choices. Yet, the words of a man would always carry more authority in the house. And slowly, such remarks and comments start to settle rent free in your head. And by the time you realize it's too late, you simply start to absorb the message that the things that women enjoy are trivial, are frivolous, and a waste of time. Like yapping, makeup, shopping, trying on new clothes, casual gatherings with your girlfriend for just a cup of tea. And when men stay out till midnight for pegs after pegs, that's not a waste of time. And sadly, over time, I started projecting that attitude onto other women. I might have even been a bit dismissive and a little nasty when my friends wanted to take more time to get ready before stepping out. I remember saying things like, this is why I prefer going out with men because they barely take minutes to get ready. And at the time, I thought that made me sound cool. And now I realize this is how patriarchy wins, divide and rule. I was just distancing myself from other women. I hate the word tomboy because it masquerades as a compliment. Think about it. Is there anything flattering about being called a tomboy? It has this strange implication that possessing traits often associated with men somehow makes you better than other women. My problem is plain and simple. Why is masculinity seen as an upgrade and femininity as something lesser? I think neither is better than the other one. One needs a healthy combination of both to thrive in this world. And to be very honest, I don't think being a tomboy has anything to do with feminism. It has nothing to do with equality or empowerment. It's plain performance. If you like to dress as a man, or if you identify as a man, that's a totally different route and conversation. We are not going there today. I also understand that for a lot of girls who grew up in male dominated environments, distancing themselves from femininity may be a kind of defense mechanism to protect themselves and to assert themselves. But I have also noticed and observed that over time, such performance can become complicit with patriarchy in its belittlement of women who enjoy being feminine. For example, judging women for wearing clothes that actually complement their bodies, telling yourself that women who wear too much makeup must be insecure, and लड़कियों की तरह मत चिल्लाओ ए मुझे लड़की मत बुलाओ when in truth, we do not dress a certain way or wear makeup for male attention. No, we don't. Most of us do that simply because we want to feel good in our own skin. You know what else this whole cool girl performance ends up blocking? It truly keeps you from being happy and at peace with yourself. Sort of misaligns all your chakras, disconnects you from your own body and this very short life that we all take for granted. Girl, you're already cool. You do not have to prove this to anyone. Okay, when I turned 30, I started taking my health and body more seriously. I started working out, started eating better, treated my body with more love and respect, and cut down on alcohol consumption. You would have thought कि चलो अब इसका तो हो गया. She's in her 30s now, the boring syndrome has hit her, and that's all she's gonna do for the rest of her life. I'm just joking. No, that did not happen. Actually, cultivating all those new, better habits inducted me into a whole new world of womanhood. When I started taking care of my body, I became more confident in it. That confidence gave me the courage to try on new kinds of outfit and experiment with my style. I started opting for cuts, designs, and color that actually suited my body type, that complemented me, my personality. I started investing in makeup. I did a lot of research on what color suited me, what was my skin tone, what was my undertone. I even made the effort to go to a hairdresser and get my hair colored and get it styled in a way that suited my face. And it made me so happy. All my life I had been a prisoner of my own mind, my own thoughts. And I realized how little I had actually allowed myself to be a girl. I knew that deep down I had always wanted to wear that red dress, to wear that low cut top, to do my hair a certain way, to get perm, to wear heels. But that cool girl syndrome was stopping myself from attaining all of those. So, yeah, I started investing in those traditional feminine things with my adult money. And I'm not trying to say that I started shopping more or you should too. Those clothes, makeup, shoes, those are just one part of it. The larger shift, the bigger overall picture, was in learning how to take pride in being a woman, how to enjoy being in my own body. Most importantly, embracing the softness, the tenderness, and emotions that are part and parcel of being a woman, and there's nothing wrong and nothing belittling about it. They are simply part of the human experience that women have been taught to downplay and apologize for. And downplaying these traits is the reason why something like a cool girl syndrome comes into existence that can dangerously spiral and lead to a lot of emotional suppression and mental health disorder. So I would like to end the video here and remind you to embrace your softness, accept your emotions, deal with them, and trust your intuition because they are all gifts. Protect them fiercely, fight for them, hold on to them, but also learn how to let go of them. See you next week in another episode.